As Dad used to say, mark my words, the day will come when she'll realize how much she lost. When she'll realize she lost a good man. She'll replay everything in her head. She'll replay how she broke you, the arguments, the manipulation she pulled, the gaslighting she pulled. She'll replay it all over and over. It'll run over and over like a clip in her head. And that's when regret sets in. And you couldn't care less. You've moved on. You are no longer the man that you were when you were married to her. And that's a good thing. And by the time she wakes up and realizes the man that she lost in you, by the time she finally wakes up, it's too late. We see it on social media all the time. You know the women, strong and independent. They get on social media and they post personal crap that they should not be posting about them and their husbands, what they're going through. And then eventually you see the posts where she is divorcing her husband and she's posting it on social media to share it with the world, to share it with strangers. She shares how she's going to divorce her husband and life is going to be grand because the grass is always greener on the other side. But we know the reality, don't we? That strong and independent woman runs back out into the dating scene after being divorced from a good man like you. And the reality that she finds hits her like a ton of bricks. Finding a good, loyal man that loved her like you did is next to impossible. What actually happens is she's being run through over and over again by Chad and Tyrone. She's alone. And later, many times we see these same women who got on social media posting about how strong and independent they were, and they were going to leave their husbands, divorce their husbands, and life was just going to be fantastic. These very same women, you see them, maybe it's months, sometimes it's years later, crying. I regret my decisions. I regret what I did. I regret losing a good man. I'm sure you've seen this on social media as well. Comment if you have. Divorce didn't destroy you like she thought it would. She thought you would crumble and fall apart, but you didn't. You took the time to process and properly heal. You rebuilt your life. Or maybe you're going through it right now and you're in the process of rebuilding. Stay resilient. Divorce didn't destroy you. It actually revealed you. Or maybe it helped you to find the man that you once were. That's what it did in my case. You've been through a tremendous amount of pain. We're going to talk about how you take that pain and you use it. You use it to your benefit to rebuild your life. You use that pain as the fire, as a fire that's in your soul, a fire that's in your gut that drives you to properly process and heal and rebuild your new ideal life now post-divorce. A life where you, after years in a miserable marriage, now have happiness, freedom, and peace. Divorce is not simply a piece of paper. It's a demolition. It's a demolition of your life. The life that you once had, the life that you once knew is demolished. It's over. It's a demolition of the daily life that you were accustomed to. It's a demolition of your routines and your schedule. It's a demolition of your future plans. One day, you were a husband and a father. You had a home, you had a family, you had specific responsibilities. You took pride in that. The next day, you were alone. Maybe in an empty house, maybe in an empty room, starting over again on an air mattress like I did. You've been stripped of everything you know. You've been stripped of your home, your family, your wife, You've been stripped of your kids. You've been stripped of what you have worked so hard for. You've been stripped of what you have worked so hard to build for so many years. Rebuilding while you're still bleeding is not easy. It's very hard. You replay the betrayal. You replay the abandonment. You replay the arguments. You replay the problems. You replay the mental and emotional stress and strain that you lived in for years. But here's the truth, and it's going to sting. The marriage was over. The marriage was over long before she left. She was gone mentally and emotionally long before she actually left physically. The marriage was long dead. You just hadn't buried it yet. It's not easy to rebuild while you're still bleeding. I had a comment from a guy here on Resilient Man who commented on one of my videos saying, "What are you talking about, man? I am broken. She's left me. She is divorcing me. My life is over. I am ruined." I really felt for the guy. I've been there. I know what he felt. I know where he's at. I was there myself. What do I say to the guy? All I could say was, take it day by day, brother. You will get through this. That guy is probably replaying everything over and over in his mind. The betrayal, the arguments, the mental and emotional stress, the loss that he's experiencing. I feel it. I understand what he's going through. This may be what you're going through as well. It's a bruise to your ego. It's a bruise to your confidence. It's hard to realize how weak you had become in the marriage. And I'm talking about myself here. I was a strong, resilient man prior to my marriage. But after years of battle, years of conflict, I was beaten down. I was the shell of the man that I once was. Maybe you can relate to that. When you come to that realization, that's a hard pill to swallow. How weak you had become. It's hard to look at that man in the mirror. Once it's over, though, the divorce is signed and you're moving on, the old man has died, as he should. This is where the new man rises. There comes a moment when you turn the pain to anger. You go from asking yourself, why did she do these things to me? How could she do this to me? And you start asking yourself, why did I put up with this for so long? Why did I put up with the disrespect and the neglect for as long as I did? Every man who's been through betrayal or abandonment, divorce, feels the same. You want justice. You want acknowledgement. You want some type of closure. You want her to see the damage that she's done. You want her to acknowledge the damage that she has caused. You want an apology. None of that ever comes. Actually, she rewrites the story. You go from being her husband to being the villain in the story. You were the cause of all the problems. You were the reason for the breakup of the marriage in her story. I lived it myself, and it was nothing more than manipulation and gaslighting. You want her to understand. You want her to acknowledge what she's done and maybe get an apology. You want her to understand how it has affected you. But you cannot get understanding from somebody who is committed to not understanding you. Understanding your point of view, understanding your side was not part of her agenda. When you finally come to that realization and you accept that fact, you stop trying to convince her. You stop wanting understanding. Accepting this fact will enable you mentally and emotionally to truly start to rebuild. A truth that you may not want to admit is divorce exposed your dependency, your weakness, your codependency on her. In many cases, we as men were raised with the mindset of sacrifice to provide and to protect. Love your wife and stay loyal. You've learned the hard way. It doesn't play out like that. Just because you worked hard, just because you loved her and you stayed loyal, just because you sacrificed over and over again for years, it didn't make a difference. It did not matter to her. I looked at my grandparents as the model. Maybe you can relate to this. My grandparents married at 19 years old in 1936, and they were together for 64 years. They had their ups and downs. Life was certainly not perfect, and their marriage was not perfect. But one thing I knew about my grandparents, they loved each other, and they had a tremendous respect for each other. That is what I aspired to. Maybe that's what you aspired to as well. Now you can say that was a different era, they had a different mindset back then. Does that really make you feel better about how things are today? Does that change the fact you gave your woman your time, your effort, your resources, and in the end, you were discarded? I did a message here on Resilient Man channel called It's All Transactional. Check it out. You will thoroughly enjoy the story. It's the story of an interaction I had with a woman I know on social media. She had posted on social media about how if you as a man were not bringing enough to the table, you should move on. I found it interesting, and I decided to engage her. We went back and forth, and I read through our comments back and forth. And in the end, she admitted what we as men unfortunately know to be true. Love is not enough. It is all transactional. I'll put the link at the end of this message. When respect died in your marriage, you were witnessing a slow death of your relationship. The marriage was dying right before your eyes. When she lost respect, it was over. That realization hurts, but it also liberates you. It liberates you because the fire that you've been through, the fire that created the ashes of your marriage, is the same fire that you're going to use to forge the new man. You're truly starting to rebuild now. Hitting the gym, doing something physically active every day. It not only improves your physical health, it improves your mental and emotional health as well. It boosts your mood. You're cutting out toxic people from your life. You will not stand for any drama from anyone, not just your ex-wife, friends and family as well. You're no longer explaining your new mindset. You don't feel the need to explain yourself. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you're rebuilding your life now. You wake up one morning, you look in the mirror, and you actually have respect again for the man looking back at you. You've turned the pain you've been through into the fire, into motivation. You've been through hell. But think of it this way. With precious metals are put to the fire to burn off the dross, the crap that's around the precious metal. That's representative of the fire that you've been through. You've been through hell. You've been through the fire. And the dross has been burned off of you. You're now refined. People won't understand your new mindset. They won't understand how you're rebuilding your life now. Your ex-wife certainly won't understand. To your ex-wife, it's bizarre. And it's bizarre to her because the man you are now, the man that you're becoming, can no longer be manipulated and controlled by her. That's the beauty of the fire that you've been through. The fire forges you into the man that you're now becoming, a stronger, more resilient man. After the fire, you start to realize your purpose. There's a silence that at one time would have bothered you, but now the silence is actually your sanctuary. This is where you really start to appreciate the peace you now have in your life post-divorce. You no longer react. You don't react to her text messages. You don't look at what she's doing on social media. You couldn't care less because you've moved on. She has no relevance in your life. You're past it. Unfortunately, some men don't reach this phase. They would rather stay bitter and angry. You've moved on, though. Peace is your priority now. You don't want to live your life bitter and angry. You'd rather move forward, better. This is where discipline kicks in. This is where discipline really saves you. Rebuilding your body physically, doing something physically active, it's going to improve your life overall. Rebuilding your body segues into rebuilding your spirit, which in turn segues into rebuilding your mind. You're better off mentally and emotionally now. This, combined with rebuilding your finances, paying down debts, and getting your money under control. When you have control of your money, you have peace of mind. The interesting thing, your ex-wife will sense your rebuild. She will sense there's something different about you. You're no longer the same man that she once knew. And that's when it happens. You receive the text or the email or the phone call. Hey, I was just thinking about you. Just wanted to see how you're doing. Don't take the bait. She's not reaching out to you out of care and concern. She's reaching out to you to see if she still can get access to your life. Especially if your life is improving, maybe she can benefit from that as well. You're on a mission though. You are a new man. You have purpose. And that does not include your ex-wife. So how do you establish your new mindset to rebuild? It's about crafting your new code, an agreement, and a contract with yourself. First and foremost, it's about protecting your peace now. You will no longer accept your ex-wife disrupting your peace. Your peace is paramount. Your peace is priority. Second, never negotiate your boundaries. When you were married, you compromised. You sacrificed. You gave in. You made her the priority. You went against your boundaries because you were going along to get along. You don't have to do that anymore. You're divorced. Establish your boundaries. They're non-negotiable. Never beg to be understood. When you were married, you sought to be understood from your wife, and it got you nowhere. It got you nowhere because she was not interested in understanding you. She was only interested in her own agenda. Number 4, never give your power away. You don't have to give your power away anymore. You're not legally obligated to her anymore. She has no power over you unless you give it to her. And lastly, stop trying to be the man that your ex-wife wanted you to be. You tried that. You tried to be what she wanted you to be. And I would imagine you were met with criticism, complaining, condemnation, and disrespect. Once you have peace now in your life, post-divorce, drama feels like poison to you. You simply can't stand it. You can't allow it ever again. That's when you know your rebuild is working. That's when you know that your mindset is truly changed. That's when you know that the work that you're putting in to rebuild is working. There's something very interesting that you start to notice about yourself. You notice you carry yourself differently now. You notice there's more of a calm about you. You notice you don't have the need or the desire to prove yourself to anyone anymore, especially your ex-wife. You are truly free now. That's what Resilient Man Channel is about. It's not about bitterness. It's about being a stronger, more resilient man in spite of the challenges that you've gone through. So if you're watching this, if you're still in the midst of chaos, if you're still sitting in the wreckage of your marriage and your divorce, and you're thinking to yourself, who am I now? I'll tell you who you are. You're a man who will survive. You are a strong, resilient man. And as far as your ex-wife goes, her loss is her problem. If you got something out of this message, do me a favor, man. Hit like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel. Join the Resilient Man community. I greatly appreciate you watching and supporting the channel. Check out It's All Transactional. You will thoroughly enjoy that message. Know your worth. Protect your peace.